welcome back to episode number, I don't even know because I've been gone for like 3 weeks, but the Antisocial Socialite are back. Yeah, shout it from the rooftops. It's been a long few weeks since you guys have seen me. So just to make it brief, the end of March I had a spinal tap and unfortunately had received like all of the complications. So I ended up having a spinal fluid leak in my back, which triggered a litany of debilitating symptoms. So I had to go back to the hospital 2 times after it was done to get the blood patches and have like my own magical blood be shot directly back into my back to like patch up this leak. And it was a full 2 weeks until I actually finally started rounding the corner and feeling better. But it has been motherfucking hell, let me tell you. So that was very traumatic, and I used humor to kind of like deflect from the situation. And I feel like I might be doing that today in this episode. So this past week, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of the Boston Marathon bombing, which you guys know I live in Boston and it's a huge thing. I was there. I've been to many different marathons, but this one obviously is the one that stuck out the most. So I figured let's talk about my time at the marathon, because you guys, most of you who watch this didn't even know me 10 years ago when I was, you know, in my early 20s. No, absolutely not. I was rounding the corner of 30. But yeah, it was a whole different time in my life. So let's just get started, okay? Okay, just had to take a quick little brief interlude. Just so you know, I'm actually also sweating because it's warm today. But I wanted to wear my new green blazer for you guys. All right, story starts off at my old house. You guys have seen that house because that's where I started my episode. So that porch, the egg chair that was in my bedroom, which is now sitting on my balcony, that was all part of the house that I was living in when the marathon bombing took place, okay? So just keep that in reference of the proximity. So I was in Brighton, which is like a western part of Boston, and everything went down within like a couple mile radius of my house, okay? So party started at my house. So my roommates at the time worked at a hospital that was close by, so all of their coworkers became friends of the house essentially, and our house was the party house. So everybody ended up coming over there pre-gaming. We had more Jello shots than we had food in the fridge. Like that was very on par and on brand for the type of house that we had when it was, you know, time to party. So we all partied, pre-gamed everything, and made our way. It was a beautiful day down through the marathon route. So we were walking all through Brookline and eventually made it to mile 25. Okay, that's when it first started. So we're sitting there, my friends are hanging out, I'm hanging out, we're watching all these runners go by. It was super inspiring and encouraging. Not that my fat ass is gonna get up and go run, but you know, I'm inspired by these people, right? And this girl frantically runs over and she's like, "Are we gonna be okay?" And the cop was like, "I don't know." And I'm like, the hell was that about, right? So I go over to the cop and I'm like, "Hey, like what's going on? Why would she have said that?" And he's like, "I don't know. I just heard that there was like a bomb in a trash can or something." Like just very dismissive, not a lot of information, but also at the same time, he didn't seem very nervous and tried to clear people out. Like the marathon just kept going and he remained calm, which I think in the moment that was the best thing to do, because if I saw him get panicked, I probably would have lost my shit, right? So we keep going further in, closer towards the finish line, right? So we're now in Kenmore Square, and one of our friend's sisters works at Game On, and they're like, "Listen, we're at capacity, but we're gonna sneak all you guys in," right? My friends, big drinkers, they're more concerned about getting food, getting drinks, doing all this stuff, right? I, the non-drinker, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna eat nachos, but also like, what the fuck is going on? Because as we were going to Game On, one of my old coworkers texted me and he goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, what are you talking about? Am I okay? He's like, oh, I heard that a bomb went off and there's body parts everywhere, all over the street. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening, right? So we finally get into Game On. We get a table, and it's plastered, obviously, because Game On is a sports bar, and it's literally right next to Fenway Park. There are TVs everywhere, and they're showing the bombing on TV. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? This is like a mile or less away at this point, right? And so I start to get frantic. And then we're about to leave the bar. I have very close family friends that are in town because their niece was running the marathon. And we're talking the grandmother all the way down to little children, right? And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm trying to get in touch with them, see where they are, see if they're safe. This older woman, her daughter was running the marathon, and she was flipping out, right? Because at this point, no phone calls were going through. Cell phone calls were like completely dead, dropped. You could barely get a text out because it's such a concentrated group of people in this area. Cell phone towers in 2013 probably weren't as strong as what they are now. And you have everybody trying to call and text at the same time because of what is happening, right? So this woman is beyond frantic. I keep using that word, but like literally that's what it was. And Hotel Buckminster used to be right in that area, so I had advised her to go over and try to use the concierge landline and see if she could get in touch with her daughter, right? Also, her daughter was running, so chances are she didn't have her phone on her. So there was like so much chaos. What's going on? I'm like, I need to get the fuck out of here. Right? So my friends were more concerned, truthfully, about drinking. And if any of them are watching it, you guys, low-key, you do know that you were more concerned about like going out and continuing the party, and they wanted to go on to Boylston Street, right? There was like, I think it was like, I definitely know there was a McDonald's, but I think they wanted to go like Burger King and get food because they're drunk, right? And I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. So I end up meeting up with one of the family friends, one of the aunts, Cheryl, and I'm trying to figure out where everybody is, try to get everybody together. I'm like, I will get you guys out of the city. It's just my car is at my house. So we need to get this figured out. So Crystal's brother-in-law, great guy, Andy, he met up with us at the spot where we were at. So we're like now getting out of Kenmore, and we're now going close to my college that I went to, Emmanuel, right? So if you guys are familiar with the Boston area, it's literally right on the Fenway, right? Is where Emmanuel was. So we met up, and Andy and I walked over 2 miles to go to my house to go pick up my car because my roommate had already left the Red Sox game and she was drunk and she had friends over, but she was like, no, I'm really not interested in coming to pick you up unless you're with my sister, other roommate, decided to go out and get drunk. So I left them. I left my friends. I was like, no, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Like, you guys, I don't think understand the severity of this because you're drunk and want to continue the party, but like something serious is going on, right? So I like flip my shit. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? And granted, like, I don't know if she was like drunk, like that she couldn't drive, but there was definitely people at our house afterwards. And I'm like, so you are physically not able to come drive like a mile or 2 to come pick me up with Andy to get my car to get these children and a grandmother out of the city. Got it. Okay, cool. I was fucking beyond furious, right? So finally, my friends decided to pick us up at the TJ Maxx in Alston. So that was like the closest. I was about 2 miles away from my house, and then my house is about like another 1.5 miles, 2 miles away. So Andy and I go get my car. We find the meeting point where we told the family to meet up. Literally, this is when I was driving a Jetta, so I didn't have my SUV or anything like that, and we are loading people into my car. And it was just such a surreal moment. I'm like, all right, we got everybody. We're good. Let's get the fuck out of the city. I go to get on the Pike. I get on the wrong exit. I'm going west, not east, to where I need to drop them off. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, it was just like this state of like panic and shock was really intense because I still don't know what's going on. I was able to like text I was texting my best friend from home. Her mom had texted me asking me if I'm okay. I'm like, yes, I'm okay, but can you text my mom? My texts are not going through. So she went and took care of that, and I was then able to like get on Facebook actually and post a Facebook message like, I'm okay. Like, I was not at the finish line. Like, I'm okay. I'm getting out of the city to drop off. Whatever, right? And I'm like, what the fuck just took place? Like, this is insane. So this was on a Monday, and then all of the shit transpired throughout the rest of the week. I get them out. I go back home. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? And I go back to work the next day. And I'm an obsessive news watcher when it comes to things like this, right? I'm like constantly like, I gotta know every detail. I'm gonna solve the crime. I'm gonna do this. I do this for everything. I don't know if this is a good trait or a bad trait, and maybe I should be a detective because I'm pretty fucking good at it. But this one was not one I could solve, right? So I'm going back to work. I'm frantic. I'm nervous. I'm like, what the hell's happening? You know, watching the news of like any media update that they had, anything, right? So I'm at work. Fast forward Thursday, I'm closing with my former coworker, and they released the footage of the two bombers, and they're like, oh, this is the suspected people, blah, blah, blah. We didn't know for sure. We didn't know names. We didn't know anything else besides these two gentlemen with backpacks, one with the white hat, one with the black hat, and that was it. And my coworker kept obsessing over the person that was walking in front of Zokar, whatever the fuck. I don't even give a fuck what his name is, truthfully, but Tsarnaev, right? So he was wearing the white hat. He was the younger of the brothers, the two brothers. And this person was holding 3 yellow balloons. And my coworker was like, that's him. I know that's him. That's him. It has to be. And she was like so obsessed with, you know, Joker. He's a joker, right? Fuck him. Piece of little shit. With that being him, because of this person holding the 3 yellow balloons because 3 people died. And she was like crazy about numbers. She's crazy anyway, but she's crazy about numbers and like meanings behind things. And come to find out that actually was him. So I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Well, okay, so it was Monday. This is now Thursday evening. We are getting some answers, you know? And if you actually, I just watched the documentary the other day. Like, I didn't know that they actually never wanted to release the footage. And it was kind of interesting. And right before I watched it, my mom was like, do you think you're going to be triggered by watching this? I'm like, I don't think so. I definitely cried. I think there were points that I'm like, what the fuck? Like, that was actually traumatic, even though I wasn't like at the finish line, but just going through this experience of being a Bostonian for what, like almost 20 years now. Yeah, it was fucking triggering. And I was like, oh shit, right? And which all, just side note, none of what I'm talking about, I mean, they talk about it in the documentary, but I'm not taking any of my story and being like, yeah, I pulled this straight from the documentary. This was like all my bullshit, right? So, she was like, what the fuck, this is them, right? So we're closing the store. We close at 8:00. We go home, and I had done my laundry that morning, which this house that I lived in is over 100 years old, and the laundry is in the basement, and the basement is fucking creepy as hell. I hate it. Never liked going down there, which is why I would always go to the laundromat. But this is the one time that I actually decided to do my laundry in the basement. So I get home, obviously it's like 8:00, it's dark at, well, like 8:30, 9 o'clock at this point, and I'm so uncomfortable now, because we're like, okay, we know who these people are, they're, you know, close to being identified, and they're still on the loose, like, they have not been arrested, they haven't done anything, right? So I go downstairs to get my laundry out of the dryer, and it is not there, and I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, these motherfucking domestic terrorist pieces of shit fucking stole my underwear, and they're out, like, you know, disguising themselves in my clothes, okay? Like, I was a psycho fucking mindset. I was like, what the fuck? Like, they broke into my house, because, like, why else, you know? Because, like, we lived on the 2nd and 3rd floor, and there was 3 guys that lived on the 1st floor, right? So I'm like, they wouldn't have taken my clothes, or if anything, if they needed to use it, they would have just put my clothes on top of the dryer, and then that's it, right? And I was like, what the fuck? because I immediately got home and went downstairs. Keep in mind, I just left work and I called that same coworker. I was like, I need to go in my basement. You need to stay on the phone with me. So this whole time I'm like going ballistic, right? I go upstairs to my bedroom on the 3rd floor only to discover that my roommate had done her laundry later in the day. She actually brought all my laundry up and just put it on my bed. So I'm like, phew, at least they're not wearing my uns all over town, right? But again, I still didn't even want to fucking go anywhere because I was like, this is scary as fuck, right? So also, I sleep with my TV on. Not so much anymore, but I used to, like, hardcore, and like I have crazy motherfucking dreams. So it's like I feel like I need to turn the TV off because a lot of what happens on TV when I'm sleeping gets incorporated into my dreams, and then it's a lot. So anyway, I wake up at like, it was before 5 a.m., right? But it was like getting incorporated into my dream that this manhunt is going on. So I'm like, I'm hearing shooting, MIT, police officer, and I'm just like dreaming about this stuff. But then I finally wake up around 5 o'clock and I'm like, oh, no, this shit is happening. This shit is fucking happening. And then I am like, what the fuck am I gonna do right now? Like, I don't want to leave my house. Like, it's right down the street. Like, what the fuck, okay? I'm freaking out. The city immediately goes on lockdown, right? So governor and everybody fucking who can make the call says, this city is on lockdown. Nobody is to leave their house. Nobody is to do anything, right? I'm scheduled to go to work, and I call my boss and I'm like, I can't go to work, right? And I was like, I have to stay shelter in place. And she's like, well, no, oh my God, I'm stuck. We work in Natick. You should come. I'm like, but I live in Boston, you dumb cunt. Like, she is literally the fucking most spineless coward hunk of shit I've ever met in my entire life, right? I fucking hate this woman. Not so much then, definitely now. She is a fucking worthless bit of a human. And she literally was trying to force me to go to fucking work to sell luxury handbags while there's a manhunt going on. I'm like, bitch, put me in for a PTO day. I am not going to work. Like, this is fucking ridiculous, right? So the coworker that I was working with the night previous, and then, all of a sudden she lives alone. She's frantic, and she's like staying on the phone with me for basically like fucking 5 hours in silence that whole morning watching the news. We are locked down. My other 2 roommates were home. We're like, what the fuck is happening? I don't even know, like, what is happening? We're watching the news. All of a sudden, those like I want to say like a police like dispatch radio, like totally not even open to the public, became public info. Like, my friends were like sharing it via text message and through Facebook, and you can like literally log in to hear what's happening, right? So we have now left MIT and we are in Watertown, where this like shootout, brother ran over other brother. That news I don't think was readily available at that time, but like all of this shit went down. And we're just watching the news, seeing everything transpire. I am in my bed. I literally was too scared to fucking go downstairs, because again, my bedroom's on the 3rd floor. Bathroom and kitchen are on the 2nd floor. I'm like, I'm about to pee in my motherfucking trash can and starve myself because I am too scared to go downstairs. I am too scared to go around and look outside the windows, right? But finally I did, because I'm definitely above peeing in my trash can. And so I went downstairs and grabbed a snack and went to the bathroom, and I am looking outside that said porch where I used to record, and there are Black Hawk helicopters literally flying pretty much not right above my house, but pretty motherfucking close, all right? So this shit is like super close, super fucking scary. So I see these helicopters flying, like, and it's only like a few neighborhoods away, it feels like, and I am like, motherfuck, and I'm like, everything was like just like triggering, like, oh my God, I heard a sound, it's him. Oh, is he in the bushes? I mean, there's cops going through the neighborhood, like just trying to fucking like protect, right? But we didn't know where he definitely was, right? It's saying Watertown, but I'm like, if they can't find him, he could be in our neighborhood. Like, what the fuck? okay? So I'm flipping my shit. Again, so scared, didn't want to leave my house. It becomes, I don't even know, like 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, something like that. And they were like calling the manhunt off. And my roommates were like, yeah, we're going to go down the street and get some food. And I'm like, well, number one, no. Why the fuck would you want to leave the house? And number two, are they even open? Like, you're literally going out. They have not caught this guy yet. And you literally are wanting to go out. We have food. I felt like a mom. I'm like, we have food at the house. Fucking cook some food. I was going ballistic, right? They leave. They run down the street, they get their food, they come back. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, and then the manhunt was like called, or like the lockdown was called back on again, like within an hour. Okay. And we're like, so this is like high time, like the police dispatch radio, you hear it going down. And I'm like, oh my God, they have him. He's in the boat. They're getting him out. Oh my God, what the fuck? Like, right. Then the news breaks. And I'm like, oh. So in the midst of all of this, right, our friend is hammered at her friend's house. And again, lockdown happening, you're not supposed to leave. They haven't found him, let me redact that. They haven't quite found him yet. They're about to find him. And this bitch shows up at our house banging on our door. I scream so loudly and my roommate comes running up the stairs. Are you expecting anybody? I'm like, no. It was our friend, hammered, banging on our door, just wanting to come and hang out with us. As there's a manhunt going on and we all fucking thought that the marathon bomber is at our door waiting to fucking like seek shelter. And I'm like, what the fuck? So this was like the most aggressive week I've ever had in my life of being a Bostonian and like living through all of this shit. So I figured I'm going to share this side of my story with you. Unfortunately, there's a ton of people that were a lot closer to the finish line, a lot closer to the traumatic experiences, and everybody that experienced this has different levels of trauma. But I will tell you, it was a motherfucking scary time to live in Boston and to be a part of this. And, you know, watching the documentary, like a lot of what my feelings were about the situation were true. Like what they said on there. I know a lot of documentaries are like, that's false and that's, and I also forgot to mention, so that happened Monday night, and then Wednesday night I drove down to Boylston Street, like where the finish line of the marathon is, and I just wanted to see it, and it was the most eerie fucking feeling I've ever had in my entire life, because again, nobody's going out, and it's like just getting dark, and they have barricades throughout all of Boylston. So I was at probably Gloucester Street, and they have the road barricaded off, and it's just completely empty except for like police officers, you know, throughout, because it's still an active crime scene. And you just see all of the street lights turning green, yellow, red, green, like down the whole street. And it was so fucking quiet. And then all of a sudden, that's when our other roommate, I forgot, not that she existed, but I forgot that she was even there. She walked up to me, and I was like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like at the same time, we didn't tell each other that we were going down there. And it was just really fucking eerie to see how quiet the city was, and like just the momentum that ramped up after he was found. Like the city really is like a pretty fucking solid city, I'm not gonna lie. Like as much as everybody hates each other and I'm a total masshole honking my horn and all this stuff, like Boston is a great city. I feel like we rise to the occasion when we need to and be there for each other. But yeah, it was really fucking scary. So with that being said, I gotta go, guys. I hope you have a great day. Hopefully, you know, you celebrate the lives and all the achievements of everybody that has survived this. We mourn the loss of those that, tragically passed away, but it's like so wild that 10 years has fucking gone by. And I drove down towards the finish line on Saturday, and they had like this massive block party, so I couldn't even like actually cross over the finish line, which you do that because it's on the road. I had to go and turn, but it was just nice to see that everybody was out there. And again, it's weird to like celebrate something, but like really come together and like be supportive of each other. So that's it. Hope you guys have a great day. I will see you again soon. I am feeling better. I still have green in my hair, and I'm wearing green for you. I don't even know what that means. I just wanted to let you know I'm here. I'm bright. I'm sunny. I'm fucking back, bitches. But yeah, I'll see you soon.